Hey, so I'm thrilled that I get to talk to Greta Aurora. It has been a while. Um, Ashley Walters, one of the things that I really hated about her lawsuit is that against Manson is that she kept describing being trapped at his apartment and she couldn't even get anything to eat. She couldn't, or this or that. Like she didn't know what time it was. And this emphasis on this helplessness. And then, of course, with Ashley
Same with
Walters,
Esme Bianco was the same.
yeah. And let me tell you something about Ashley Walters. I was actually going to make a video out of this, but just talk about it right here. Ashley Walters has been dodging, along with a number of these other women, has been dodging depositions. She was supposed to be deposed, and she's been dodging that. And as it turns out, Ms. Walters, who seemingly can't find any time to be deposed in her very busy schedule. Well, it turns out she went to the Rammstein concert last weekend in LA. And I heard this from multiple people and I believe even saw their photos of it, but went to a Rammstein concert in LA. And so you have time to spend a whole, day, whole night getting ready for a concert, going to a concert, Ashley, but you can't be deposed. Anyway, I know Ashley is your favorite since you hung out with her. You spent some time with Ashley. How much time did you actually spend in her presence? I'm curious.
A few hours. I mean, altogether, it would have been 4 or 5 hours, I'd
What
say.
what was she like? What did she strike you as? You said kind of very servile when it came to Manson, like trying to please him and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I I genuinely felt like, and I'm really not saying this to be mean. This was my genuine impression that it, it looked like she was in love with him. That was just my impression, basically. It kind of explained, some of her motivations, I think, for doing what she's doing now.
It more than explains a lot, and not just her motivations, but some of these other women who I've just been doing so much reading over the past year into this Manson case and reading about his relationships, what I can with and the things that have been written about him, even by his detractors, right? And there's a lot of gossip, there's a lot of information online and stuff, but it really does seem like, as with I guess a lot of rock stars, that there were a lot of women that thought that they were going to be the one, or were hoping that they were going to quote someone, have the golden ticket. And I think that there was a lot of anger and resentment at the fact that that did not turn out to be. And of course, we know in Ashley Walters' case that he fired her twice. He fired her once because she got drunk and wrecked his Jaguar, right, and even got a DUI for it. And so we have these women in his life engaging in, and of course Esme was in the car with her. We have these women in his life, very reckless, engaging in a lot of reckless behavior. Manson himself said he was drawn to chaotic women. And then, they think that by proximity, either by dating him or by being his personal assistant, that, they're gonna have the benefits of that lifestyle, or they're gonna even maybe one day get to be Miss Manson. And it doesn't happen, and then they get fired or they get discarded, and then there's a lot of resentment after.
I believe yeah, it would have been a constantly painful experience, a constant source of hurt, I guess, to see him around other women.
Right.
Why never really seeing her that way. And I think that's probably part of what she was craving. One of
Well,
the reasons she ended up feeling the way she's feeling these days.
yeah, well, she certainly ended up misrepresenting your situation.
I doesn't want to sound, I really doesn't want to sound mean or nasty, but you summed it up very well. But I just think that jealousy too is a very powerful motivator. And being around, Esme Bianco and other attractive women that Manson was hanging around with, not necessarily including myself in that, but just talking in general, that would have made someone, I think, in her position very jealous. Just imagine, because it's more than, but when you're a personal assistant like that, it's more than a 9 to 5 job. Obviously, they were virtually living together at the time when he was on tour, and even just looking after his apartment and things like that. So just put yourself in a situation where you're constantly trying to get noticed. You're constantly trying to get that person to see you in a certain way, and they just never do. They always talk about other women. They're always interested in other women. It is, I guess, it is a tough place to be, but it's no excuse, obviously, for attempting to ruin someone's life.
Yeah, no, I know you're not saying that.
I think Manson himself might have been a little naive not to see that this wasn't going to end well, or maybe he just wasn't aware. Again, maybe he just didn't see any of that. But
well, and
to me, the way she looked at him and the way she behaved around him, it just that was just my impression, basically.
Well, and you know what? You're not the only one to tell me something of this sort. I was told by someone else who was very close to Manson and the situation, that what happened with Ashley Walters is what happened with a number of people in Manson's life, where he would hire someone, or he would bring someone into his circle, and they would develop, and he would treat them in a sort of a very buddy way, friend way, or informal way. And because of that informality, they would think then that they had a real in with him, that the relationship was deeper than it was. And then they would take advantage of that informality, and they would take advantage of that access. And of course, we saw that with Ashley Walters, taking his car when she wasn't authorized and getting in a wreck. And so anyway, I was told that about Ashley, and so there was probably, like you were saying, there's probably a desire there for something more than it was. And also, I think after a certain point, like, liberties were taken, she was taking liberties in that relationship, because she thought that she was entitled to it or whatever. I think it's a great sense of entitlement with a lot of these women too. Okay. I have got to go. It was so nice to talk to you. We're going to try to make this a regular thing. And so for my audience, we're putting out a video every week with Greta, and we'll split them up on our 2 channels. But if you haven't before, check out her channel, like and subscribe, do all of that stuff. And we will see you again next week.